What's going on, everyone? We are back for another edition of the Bleed Los podcast, Carne Asada. The Dodgers swept the Rockies. Starting pitching is in peak form, and we're on deck for the two series that could decide our playoff seeding. All that and more coming up next. Hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have got Anthony in the house to break everything down from the Rocky series for you. We have producer Roger behind the scenes. And as you know, I am Drea. Before we get into all of that stuff, we've got to make sure to tell you about DodgersBeat.com. Stay up to date and in the know with all of the latest and most comprehensive coverage of the Los Angeles Dodgers. It is your one stop for articles, interviews, contests, merch, and more. Never miss a beat and check out DodgersBeat.com. Anthony, what is going on? Are we the phoenix rising from the ashes?
It feels like it. Yeah, it feels especially we'll get into it how the pitching staff is doing. It feels like this is our strength. We're gonna just ride these guys into October and hopefully to another world championship.
Yeah, I feel like we maybe lost faith too soon. Maybe the Dodgers fan base was already collecting our marbles and going home. And now, I mean, we finally got a glimpse of what I think we wanted to see all season. Are they just teasing us? Or do you think that we're going to see a nice 16-game stretch of real Dodger baseball?
I hope this is like the real start of a good stretch, and then we'll head into the postseason. Postseason completely different monster, but we've played so much bad baseball throughout the season that hopefully this is the start of something good.
I know. I really hope it is because I mean, we know the Phillies are playing really well and the two seed, although, not out of the picture yet. If the Phillies keep playing like they're playing, we may need to play a wild card, but we'll see how that all shakes out because we have the Phillies coming to town next week. But I think we need to just talk about the Rockies series and some really great things we are finally seeing from our boys in blue and a lineup that I have been waiting to kind of see mesh the way we saw it. But we have had, I think the highlight is the incredible starting pitching. We have been praying for this for what years, I feel like, and we finally got it. So, I mean, where do we even begin? We've had Glasnow, Sheehan, and Snell all start. What has stood out to you the most?
Uh, Honestly, I want to give Ben Rortvedt some credit here. Kind of thrown into the fire, but
Yeah.
it's no surprise that we've come close to no hitters and perfect games ever since he started calling games. I just feel like he calls such a good game back there that it kind of like makes it easier on the pitcher. I know I saw an interview that Tyler Glasnow was doing a few days ago, and he said like, yeah, he kind of like at first it was kind of little like here or there pull and tug between the two, and he kind of just let Rover take over, and he felt comfortable and confident out there. And we saw he came pretty close to a combined no-no there, but. Yeah, overall, it's hard to complain or find any flaws with the pitching staff. It feels like any guy that goes out there is capable of going either 6 or 7 innings strong. The issue then relies, like I've sent to you and producer Raj, the adventure starts in the seventh inning because we don't know with the guys in the bullpen like how it's gonna go. Like, yeah, our starter can go 7 innings or 6 innings, but we don't know how this game is gonna end because it's so shaky back there.
Yeah, it is, and that's where my nerves start to come into play. I mean, I'm loving that we're getting into 7 or 8, or in Yamamoto's case, 9 innings, and I mean, so close to history. We talked about that on the last show, but just a couple days later, we saw a Glasnow, his start. We almost got into a combined no hitter, but also lost that in the ninth. So in just a few days' time, we could have witnessed like history twice. But yeah, you brought up Rortvedt, and I think he was one of our trade deadline acquisitions, right? So didn't know too much about him prior to coming over. I didn't really think we were even going to see him, but of course, with the Dalton rushing injury, he came up, and I'm feeling it. I Do you think there's any chance he makes it to the postseason roster?
There is a slim outside chance. The only issue is when he comes up to bat, but he's I think he's 4 for 13 as a batter
Yeah.
for us. So his offense is kind of there, but I think the issue is like if you come into a postseason series, you get scouted more, and I think the opposing
Mhm.
teams will find like just the holes in his offense, and it'll just kind of expose him. At this point, I still. Ideally, Will Smith is still my starter, and then my backup would be Dalton Rushing. Ideally, if fully healthy, Will Smith plays the entirety of the postseason, and maybe you give him a break here and there. But ideally, I want Will Smith playing every game possible in the postseason. I wouldn't want him to miss a game unless it's via injury, kind of like last year where Freddie missed a game or two here and there just because he
Mhm.
couldn't really deal with the pain tolerance.
Yeah, that's really what it's about, is really just kind of making sure that we're getting Will as rested as possible, because we all know what he's capable of. He can go every single game, but I mean, if something should happen, I'm not, too unhappy about Rortvedt being a possibility. But again, he's new. They don't have a lot of information on him yet, so there's these kind of really cool moments where he can just make it happen, and the other teams haven't really figured him all out yet. But what got me is that he didn't even know he was catching the last game until like what, 10 minutes
Like
beforehand.
10 minutes before, yeah. Apparently he was like taking a nap, and he woke up and he's like, "Hey, you're catching." So he didn't even get a chance to catch Blake Snell, so he kind of just was thrown into the fire. But I kind of like it because he showed composure back there, and he was kind of like, "Okay, well, let's do it." Kind of ride mentality.
I love it. That's what I like to see from the guys coming up. It's like, I'm all in, and they have the fire in their eyes, and they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna, I think you had written that on your socials that this is your moment
Yeah,
for I think it
yeah.
was Chucky and Wordbed. And I was like, yeah, I think he heard you. He felt the vibe, and he's lived up. So very excited to see just the production from him. I think that he did an interview. We have it on Dodgers Beat .com, or he on our YouTube channel for Bleed Low. So check it out, because he kind of is really cool to listen to. He's got an aura and a vibe around him. So very cool. But I think we just need to also talk about Muncy. Muncy's back, and the numbers have really shown that when Muncy is in the lineup, everything seems like it just clicks. Is there just something about his mere presence that just whips that clubhouse into shape?
It could be. It's more than likely his bat as well, too. It's just another bat for the opposing pitcher to have to deal with. Like you can't just skip over Max Muncy. Like you can skip over some of our guys in our team. I'm not gonna name names because we know them already. But like Max Muncy's kind of been there, done that before. He's kind of really dangerous. His resume kind of speaks for itself, and he also takes a lot of pitches, which I like. He kind of draws the pitch count up and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like his presence has just been missing throughout the season, and it's kind of goes back to like little like nag tag injuries here and there. I feel like the same can be said about Tommy Edman. Same could be said about Kike. Same could be said about a lot of guys on this roster. It's kind of just they haven't all missed extended periods of time together, but it feels like we find our team. We're like, yeah, this is the team we've been waiting for, and then something happens. Someone goes down, and you miss extended period of time. So hopefully, like that's all behind us, and like now we're just getting ready for the stretch run here.
I hope so, because I think that, I really don't question that we're going to make the playoffs. It's just a matter of where we're going to fall in, like into the seeding. And obviously we want to have, as much home field advantage as we can get. But if they're playing like they played in, we hate to say sweep sometimes, but we've kind of been lucky lately saying sweep on some of the series. And if they play like that, could we potentially be one of the most feared teams in baseball if they are playing on all cylinders like they just did?
If they're playing to all cylinders, similar to this series, yes, I still think there's that fear.
Mhm.
Just because our starting rotation is on fire, basically has been on fire the entire second half of the season. Uh, but I still think that fear is there as a defending world champions. The issue now becomes that we're not going to have the benefit of having home field advantage. We're going to have to go and play on the road, and we're going to have to kind of like earn that opportunity to come back home and like either be up 2-1 or 1-1 and stuff like that. So there is some fear, but I don't think it'll be all the way there as we go deeper in the playoffs, hopefully as deep as possible. But just because we won't have that home field advantage, we're going to have to go on the road and kind of prove that, like, yeah, we're still the Dodgers, basically.
Yeah. I hope that we, can get the highest possible seeding, but I think that it's just not going to look like it looked last year, because last year it was all about the bullpen dogs. And this year, I don't necessarily think that's going to be the main storyline. I could be surprised. I don't know. But this year, they're just going about it a little bit differently. Doesn't mean they won't get it done. But I think the key storyline, like we were just saying, is, our starting pitching. How do you even narrow it down at this point? Or is it going to be more of like, do you think a piggyback situation where we just have starting pitcher, out, another starting pitcher in, and we finish it and barely even touch the bullpen? Could that be a possibility?
Honestly, I think it's gonna come because I think we're gonna end up playing a wild card series here.
Hmm.
So I think they're just gonna roll with the three hottest hands for that series, and then just go from there for the NLDS. Because I think you only get like a day or two of rest in between that. So some guys who pitched game one of the wild card might
Hmm.
not be available for game one of the NLDS. They might be available for game two. So we'll
Hmm.
kind of just go from there. So I really do think like all five of these guys, six if we include Sheehan, are going to
Hmm.
be playing big parts in our postseason run here, just because out of necessity, just for having available arms.
Wow. Okay. So we're going to likely see them all at different, like start off with the wild card,
Phases, yeah.
and yeah, and so just kind of like piece it together that way. Yama's still our top dog.
Yes, I still think he's number one, especially coming off his near no-hit performance. I still put him at my number one. And then from there, it gets tricky because I kind of like going righty lefty, and I would
Mhm.
throw Blake Snell at number two. And
Okay.
then number three, if it's 1-1 back up against the wall, we need to win a game. That's where I like Shohei. Shohei would be my game three starter, kind of like if it comes to it, like seasons on the line, no one else better than that to give the ball to than Shohei Ohtani. That would be my game three starter, and then we'd go from there. This is all in like a wild card scenario. Yeah,
If we had, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, like we don't know, but there might be, some extra playoff games in our future. But hey, you know what?
yeah,
Sometimes when their backs are against the wall, that's when we see the best baseball. Because I feel like all this time, maybe there's something to the fact that I've heard pundits and different people around the league say that maybe the Dodgers just are simply not interested in regular season. They're just bored with it. They just simply like it's just not interesting to them. And I really don't think as that's an excuse that they've been using to lose games because obviously who wouldn't want to be able to skip the wild card? And I don't think that they wanted to be in that position. But maybe it just doesn't get their juices flowing. And as they see October coming up, like really, really close, it's like they're coming out of hibernation and finally like, oh, okay, stretching their muscles. It's time to get ready. And they're starting to play with more urgency. And it feels like maybe because the games mean more, even starting now. So
yeah.
I don't know if that's a correct observation or you feel that way, but I think that there's something about this time of year. They're feeling like, okay, time to wake it up. Let's do this.
Yeah, I could think about that. Like, it's hard to get up against like a team like the Rockies if you're playing them in like, I don't know, I would say like June and like the season's kind of halfway through and like you're playing in Colorado. You really don't want to play the Rockies, but like up ahead, you have a matchup against a potential playoff opponent like either Philadelphia or like Milwaukee. But then we saw when we played Milwaukee, we were completely just outmatched against them. It just looked like we were non-competitive, and it wasn't even for like lack of effort. It just felt like Milwaukee had that opportunity, saw it like, hey, like this is a good measuring stick for us to see where we're at. Like, let's
Mhm.
see how like, we compete against the Dodgers, and what ends up happening if you take an opponent too lightly, you end up getting embarrassed, which ended up happening for the Dodgers. So I kind of see it here and there. Like, yeah, it's hard to get up all the time for every series of a long season, but if you fail to get up against potential playoff guys, you give them the confidence going into the October. Like, well, we beat you guys in the regular season. You kind of like you have
Mhm.
to prove it here and there. So that's why I don't like kind of like taking opponents for granted. You have to take every series very seriously because you never know down the line if you're going to face off against them or if you gave them confidence throughout to like, yeah, we can beat these guys like no problem, basically. And then you give their fan base the same kind of confidence going into an away game, game
Yeah.
one, like, yeah, we can take these guys, like, let's bring it, basically.
I still think that as good as the Brewers have been this year, they could easily end up, top record in baseball. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But the truth is, last year was an anomaly. We were at the top of baseball, the number one team, and we won the World Series. But usually, the top team does not win the World Series. Like it hasn't happened every single year the way it did last year. It's actually more rare. So the Brewers may or may not have a title in their future, but I mean, the way that the Phillies are playing right now, they're catching fire even with the injuries that they're on, but you never know what could happen. They have been hot, and then when they get to the playoffs, look what happens. It's just who gets hot in October. And I don't know. I feel like the Dodgers just want to make the dance. And then once they're in, it all clears and it's a
Yeah,
crapshoot there, right? So
basically.
yeah, basically. But I got to talk about Mookie because it seems like I think it was August 8th or early August that he had kind of remember those comments that he had made about, it's not about me anymore. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just here to, help the team. And it's almost like he said, okay, F it. I'm just going to, not worried about numbers for myself. I'm just here to, do what I can for this team. And I think there's always a piece of Mookie that's like that. He's a team player. He's always has been. But when he kind of took the pressure off himself, his numbers have been just really good these past several weeks. He has 5 consecutive multi-run games. You saw what he did last game, grand slam Mookie. His 18th home run of the season. He was 4 for 5 with 5 RBIs just in the last game. I mean, the guy's on fire. Do we need to send JD Martinez a fruit basket? Like, what did he say
Yeah.
to your thoughts on Mookie?
Well, I remember when he quoted saying like his season was over, I said
Yeah.
like I love it. This mentality of kind of like well, I've had a really bad season up to this point, so like I think he also was quoted saying like I just want to help the team win every day, whether it's like a play on defense, a sacrifice fly, drawing an important walk, stuff like that. So yeah, he did like kind of lift that pressure off himself. Same thing happened in the postseason last year. He kind of got off to that rough start. We had Profar rob him of a home run in game 2, but we saw like it didn't shake his confidence, and he came back and he performed in that playoff series. And he kind of was quoted saying at the end when everyone was kind of celebrating and stuff, like, "Yeah, I kind of just went into that playoffs after game 2 of the Padres series. Like, come on, Mookie, you just got to find one way to help this team." So he kind of just shifted back to the playoff mentality that he have, and I love it. It's the ultimate like team player guy, and as you can see, like his second half numbers are borderline kind of like MVP numbers, kind of like the Mookie of old that we've known and loved. So maybe he was just putting too much pressure on himself. Again, he dealt with so many issues at the start of the season with his sickness, his broken toe, a death in the family, stuff like that. So maybe it's just kind of like all got to him at once, and he finally took a moment to like take a deep breath and like let's just like whatever happened in the past is in the past, and like let's just move forward and just play baseball basically. So I'm glad
Yeah.
Mookie Betts is back to being Mookie Betts because he's an awesome player to watch.
Yeah, he's not cooked as so many people were trying to write him off. And, we have him for quite a few more years. And I don't think we have seen the last of, dominant Mookie. And I'm excited because you still see the fire still in him. And it just was really pleasant that we got to see those glimpses while he's playing shortstop. He's not in right field. He is, amazing at, his position. And he's really just getting it done when he's taking his at bat. So all positive things there. But I'm a little bit just concerned about some pieces in our bullpen. What else is new? Bullpen has been shaky for a bit. There's some positives, but I'm really worried about Yates. Does
Oh
Yates
man.
Yeah, I know. Does Yates get the ball? I know Tanner Scott is going to, I realize that, but does Yates get the ball in postseason? Because that scares me to death.
I think the only way he pitches in a postseason game is if like the game is just so far out of reach, like we just like, okay, we're gonna lose this game. Like, let's not burn any of our quote unquote big arms like Vesia or like I'm
Okay.
still gonna throw him in there, like trying and stuff like that. Like, we're not gonna throw these guys in this game. Like, let's just punt. That's when I see Kirby Yates kind of taking them out. But other than that, I really don't. Like, he was supposed to have a clean inning because he came into one of those games, I think the second game of the Rockies series, where it's kind of like, okay, let's get Kirby Yates some like
Mhm.
work here, and then he just left like a meatball down the middle, and the Rocky player just took him deep. I'm like, oh well, they're still the same Kirby Yates. So like, I really don't understand it. Uh, but then when I saw that they optioned Kasparius, and I was reading Cody's article, and I was reading a bunch of other people's opinions, I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense because you want Kasparius to kind of find it down in the major leagues and not here, or not major leagues, the minor leagues, and then you bring him back up because he has options. You can always just option him back up to the big team. And I saw later on that he did have a clean innings, so maybe they just want him to like kind of like figure it out down there, and like Kirby Yates has to figure it up here, and whoever figures it out is going to end up getting that last roster spot on the playoff team. And I hope it's Ben Kasparius and not Kirby Yates.
I mean, Casparis is really interesting because I'm not so worried about him being down in AAA because I know that he has experience from last season. I mean, he was thrown into the fire last year and he showed what he was capable of. And so I think they're just kind of fine tuning and refining who they believe will be on our postseason roster. As Dave Roberts says, it's kind of like an audition right now, who's going to make it.
Yeah.
And I know that they had said some interesting news came out in the last couple of days that Roki Sasaki was going to have a meeting with management, front office, and kind of see where he's at because he was putting up some decent
Yeah.
velocity in the last game. Did you
Some
hear about
ridiculous numbers.
that? Right? Like the kind of the Roki that we're hoping that we might, get earlier in the season. I know that we've kind of been back and forth on how we feel about Roki, but is there a chance to see him in the next few weeks?
I'm gonna say there is a chance, but
Oh,
ideally, I think the Dodgers are just gonna keep him in OKC, kind of just build him up as a starter, unless
mhm,
something catastrophic happens to the bullpen, like there's an injury where it's season ending or like two season-ending injuries.
mhm.
That's the only way I would put him in the bullpen, but he's never been a guy who comes out the bullpen. Like I
Yeah.
know it's intriguing because like he has the high velocity stuff, but I kind of want to see him develop as the starting pitcher, and I think it's best for him long term if he just stays in OKC, kind of just builds up the confidence and kind of just whatever happened this year, it's just a complete just wash. We're gonna start from fresh. He might want to participate in the World Baseball Classic coming up in the springtime of next year. So kind of why don't just like
Mhm.
get as many reps as you can now here in minor leagues, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I don't think he's a realistic option out the bullpen.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that makes more sense because it really was a confidence thing with him this year. I mean, he clearly has the stuff. Obviously, they're just kind of having to refine and make sure that they are using him in the best way for his talents and his mental state. But you can see it. He was just like a scared puppy out there, and I think
He's
he
only
just needed to
22 years old and he's living in a different country. So like put
right.
it in that kind of perspective. Like when I first moved to college, I was only 17. I wasn't even 18 yet. And like
Oh
you're
wow.
removed from routine. You kind of have to figure stuff out on your own. You live on your own. Like I was kind of like a lost puppy, like you said. So I can't imagine like Roki kind of being by himself, dealing with injury, dealing with like these struggles. He's never had these kind of injuries before, stuff like that. So it's been a lot for him. So that's why I kind of just want him to like whatever happened this year, just put in the past and like we build off these starts in OKC. This last start was really, really encouraging. So like I think it's best for him just to keep being a starter.
I agree with you. And I think that that's where we need to show grace to him because we forget those things when you think how together we are at 22 years old. I mean, at the time we might think we are, but then we grow and we kind of learn so much every year of our 20s and into our 30s. And he's just a baby and he's in a different country. I've never lived like more than a mile or two away from my parents at any time in my life. And even it's hard when you have, a support system right by you. Can't imagine what it's like in a different country. So we have him for a little bit too. And so it's not like we have to, pressure him. We've got
Yeah.
time. So that's a positive to look forward to his development in the future. So I got to just ask you, is Teo back?
It looks like it. Him having an off season kind of has been discouraging, but I feel like he's kind of found something that can help him get into October. He's been scuffling a lot. I feel like he's been striking out a lot more often than he did last year,
Mhm.
comparatively speaking. But yeah, I feel like he's back, and I know the defense is still an issue, but I feel like now Tommy Edmond being back out there in center field can help cover more ground out there easily. So I hope he's back because he's also one of those big reasons why we were world champions last year because he was one of
Mhm.
the big bats that we had there, and he played a major part in the Padres series. Kind of went quiet in the Mets series, but then we saw in New York against the Yankees, like he's the reason why we ended up being world champions as well too, because he was right behind Freddie Freeman, kind of with the offense.
And, yeah, and he's why everyone everyone fell in love with him, his smile, the seeds, all the vibes that he brings to the team. And I think he took a lot of heat this year because I mean, as Dodger fans, we get very spoiled if we don't win every single game. And I feel like any little mistake that these guys make, they really take heat. And I think that's where I myself even need to check myself and be like, this game, baseball is a really hard game to play. It is not easy. It's by, them making it look like, oh, anyone can just go out there and do it. That is just not the case. Hitting a ball is one of the hardest things in all of professional sports. So really hope that we just keep seeing that Teo, because he has it in him still. And he is just, he's our boy. And I really feel like he's showing why we all wanted him back. But one thing that I noticed, do you know that there was team picture day this week?
Yeah, I did.
They had,
I saw it.
okay, so Yamamoto hugging Tanner Scott. I mean, he's a better person than me, but I mean, it's just such I think it's refreshing because there's so many pictures that came out from behind the scenes where you could see that these guys, it's like there's some kind of vibe that maybe we thought maybe was missing, or they're just teasing each other. They're kind of having that cohesion, at least from those pictures. Did you notice that, or kind of think like this could be something for post, like if they're getting ready for, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like a lighthearted moment. Kind of like it's funny because picture day usually is at the start of the year. I know how they
Yeah.
do it, like on spring training, they'll have their media day coverage, and it's kind of funny that at the end of the year they also have like a one giant team picture day. But yeah, I feel like the vibes have always just been there. It's just weird that they've been playing bad baseball, but I attribute it to injuries and just like lack of consistency and stuff like that. So the vibes have always been there. I haven't heard like anything or read anything like, oh, like the clubhouse vibes are like very toxic, like no one talks to anyone. But like you see it throughout the game too as well. Like they're kind of joking around in the bullpen, in the dugout, stuff like that. Blake Snell kind of has like adopted Yoshi and Kim as well too. He's kind of like their adoptive father. It's funny. It's like weird. You never think like combinations of like friendship groups that have been formed
Yeah.
would be like a thing at the start of the season. So it's always cool to kind of see these like behind the scenes things.
I do. I like those the best. And those will make me, they make me smile. I post a lot of those on my story because I just like to get that feel like the guys actually like each other. And that's not true of all teams. You hear news around the league that it's not always, sunshine and roses in all the clubhouses. And I think that a unified team really contributes to titles,
Yeah,
and that's true across sports. But that was something pleasant that I noticed. Now you're going to one of the games this week, right? Coming week, we have two series coming up.
yeah.
I know it's the Giants first, and then when they come back to LA, I'm going to be at the stadium quite a bit next week. Which game are you going to?
I will be there. I believe it's Monday for Freddie Freeman ring night.
Wow. All
Let
right.
me double check that, but I'm pretty sure it is Monday against the Phillies.
Yeah. So that's the opening. I'm not going to be at that one. I think there's some really great promotions happening though all throughout the week, and that's going to have. I think we've been talking about the playoff feel and the playoff vibes because let's just pretend we sweep. Let's pretend. Let's just do really really well. I mean, we're what 4 or 5 games back of the Phillies as of filming this. Is there
Yeah.
still a chance we could get the 2 seed? What do you think?
There's still a chance because we match up 3 times against them. The issue is they just came off a sweep against the Mets, and it's pretty impressive because they're missing Trey Turner, and it's
Yes, I
just I don't know. I think we're kind of just like I really want to see where we're at going into that series. I really hope our big dogs are lined up, like the top of our
know.
rotation, like the guys I just listed earlier on in the episode, are our 1, 2, 3 guys, because I feel like this is kind of a again, you can't mimic playoffs, but this is the closest to a playoff preview we'll have going into it.
Oh, for sure. So, yeah, next week's going to be rocking at the stadium because it's really just kind of like the last week where we're going to be home. I think we're projected to get to the 4 million mark in terms
Yeah,
of visitors. So, that's going to be super exciting because Dodger fans have been showing out at every single game. I mean, you're talking like what, like 40, high 40s, 50s every single night.
50s. Yeah,
Right? So, I mean, shout out to all the Dodger fans who, come hell or high water, they're going to be there. Doesn't matter what night of the week it is. It doesn't matter. And, they're there to support their guys. Not, yes, promotions are great, but even on nights when there's not promotions, Dodger fans are still out there supporting. So, that's going to be just a super fun week. I know that there's a Clayton Kershaw bobblehead coming up on the next Saturday. There's the Joe Davis talking bobblehead. Just some great things. So, we're going to have a really fun week. Hopefully, it's met with a lot of wins. But before we get into kind of looking at the Giant series and kind of seeing where we're going to fall with that, some cool news coming up in the next several days. I think I want to say it's the 18th, September 18th. We have an unveiling of our low A affiliate, Dodgers low A affiliate, who are currently the Quakes out of Rancho Cucamonga. The players are going to be moving to Ontario. So a nice complex that's being built for them. And there is going to be a launch party. If you can get out there to the I think it's going to be held at the Ontario Town Square. If you go onto
Yeah.
the Instagram and you type in, Ontario baseball, you can just RSVP to kind of head down there. I think it's 5 to 8:30. I think there's ESPN's going to be filming from there, ESPN LA, and I think it's going to be hosted by Mario Lopez. And there's going to be, I want to say, Joe Kelly and several other Dodgers that are going to be present there. But definitely going to be a fun event. There's going to be Otso Motley, Mariachi Divas. You're going to have Steve Sachs, Jaime Harin, Bill Russell. There's going to be just a lot of fun as they unveil the name. I have my thoughts on what the name might be. I wasn't the original thinker of this one, but do you have any idea of what we're not going to be the Quakes anymore. What are we going to be? What do you think?
I like your name. I'm not gonna steal your answer. I'm
I
very
think
tempted
it's,
to, but I'm not.
well,
Uh,
go ahead.
I'll say I don't know. I just the idea of Dodger dogs, just like a giant, like I see like a beagle running around in the outfield, basically, and like a giant dog. Yeah, I'm surprised we don't have like a giant mascot dog at Dodger Stadium, but yeah, Dodger
Yeah,
dogs,
right?
basically.
Like dog, DAWG dog or
Yeah,
DOG?
yeah, like that. But like, I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised we don't have like a giant like beagle, especially if like for the kids and stuff, like a giant beagle out there, like in a Dodger uniform. Very surprised that's not a thing here. But yeah, I'm going Dodger dogs.
I like that.
Yeah,
It actually makes more sense than mine. And I was going with the Fernando Valenzuela. I think we're going to be the Toros, and I want to get out there and definitely get all the merch I can, whether we're the dogs or the
yeah,
Toros or something that we can't even imagine. I know it's going to be a pretty awesome name, so I'm very excited to see what that's going to be. But yeah, if you can make it out there on September 18th to the Ontario Town Square and check out all the great entertainment and see what we're going to now be called our low A affiliate. So yeah, that brings us to the Giants. Giant series, big. So we're going
yeah.
to play them,
Huge.
I believe, not just this weekend, we're going to play them again, I believe, but we're going to have a 3-game series. It's going to be Yamamoto, Kershaw, Glasnow. I think they say Shohei for the Phillies games. Am I right? Maybe the day that you're going
Yeah,
to go. Sure. Okay, what are we going to do? Let's talk.
I
Let's
think
call.
I think we're gonna take two of one. I think just the Giants have been playing really good baseball as of late. Having gone to a Giant Dodger game earlier on in the year, there's nothing more that those fans would love to do than to spoil
Oh
our
yeah.
potential playoff seeding. I think the games will be intense. They were intense when I was over there, so but I still think I give us the nod. We face the ghost of Justin Verlander tomorrow. This is gonna end up burning me when he goes like 7 innings tomorrow. But like the ghost of Justin Verlander, so it should be a good test for the offense to kind of just go out there and just give it to him. He hasn't been good all year. His record is 3-10. He's been awful. So I know the name is still there, Justin Verlander, future Hall of Famer, but he's had a really bad year, and we'll go from there. I still think 2 of 1 is very feasible. I don't want to say sweep because we have Logan Webb. Well, actually, the third game they do have Shohei. It's Shohei and Logan Webb. So that one might be the close, like where pitching just dominates and like
Okay.
someone gets like a runner here and there. But I just
Okay.
think 2 of 1 is very feasible.
I think we got to really just make sure that we take that first game of each series because that kind of sets the tone. So for the remaining series that we have left, I really hope that they just, come out fighting and kind of almost deflate the other team, like, just put the fear in them because
Yeah,
we're still the Dodgers. And I think the Dodgers showed that, don't write us off yet. Yeah, they haven't played the best baseball every single game, but this lineup, when I saw it like last, I'm like, oh my God, minus like Will Smith being in the lineup, this is killer and this has
yeah,
potential. So very exciting. Yeah, 2-1. I'm not sure what combo that will be in, but I'm hoping that we just take tomorrow night and really just show out. So going to be fun nights at the Ravine coming up. It's going to be, I believe, let's see, Monday, you're going to be there. I'm going to be there. I think there's going to also be like Dia de los Dodgers, which is always fun because everyone likes to kind of
Yeah.
get that. So I'll be at that game next week. And then, yeah, just all throughout the week, there's going to be just great events. So definitely check all of that out. That's it for my notes. Are there any things that you would like to add?
No, not specifically. Just excited. End of season is always it always sucks because this end of the season's here, but it's also the most fun time of the year. So I'm excited for that to happen.
It is a fun, exciting time. I like the holiday time, like when the weather changes. I love wearing my Dodger
Yeah.
jackets. So hopefully it can get that in and we get deep into October where we can just really enjoy some great baseball before the off season. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of the Bleed Lows podcast. Again, make sure to check out dodgersbeat.com for all the great articles and all of the great interviews that are being written about day in and day out. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel, Bleed Lows Podcast, with all of our shows. And of course, all of the behind the scenes, pre-game, post-game, everything is there for you on our YouTube channel as well. So shout out to all the wonderful people making that happen. And until, gotta tear our handles. You can find me at Drea at Instagram and X at Ravine Queen 1958. And don't forget to check out Anthony on X and Instagram at Anthony Acosta _. And until next time, let's go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers.